Hello, everybody, and welcome to PSVG, the official podcast to play some video games, the only gaming podcast featuring the real gurus of Nintendo. We're recording this episode 95 on August 18th of the year 2017 as I, your host, Kevin Austin, and with me this week, it's just Mr. Donnie Reese. Sir, how are we doing?
Greetings, Kooplings.
Very mellow. It's been a long week for you, so completely understandable. We'll get to that, I'm sure. Now, normally we like to have 3 or 4 guys on, but Mr. Jason Lacey apparently is celebrating his 47th birthday just a little way too hard and couldn't make it to the podcast. So hopefully he lives to see the 48th birthday. We'll just leave it at that. But yeah, so Donnie, what have you been up to? What have you been playing? How's your week been?
Kevin, I would like to submit to the YouTube audience soda, rum. Combined, these 2 elixirs make for a great way to wind down a Friday.
It's not going to be one of those podcasts again, is it?
Let's hope not. I didn't bring a whole bottle.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
It's been a long week, man. I've been taken on the chin at the office. I work for the government, but a part of my job is tech-based. And I'm not like collegiately educated techie. I'm self-taught techie. It's kind of like I've had to learn, just out of necessity for my office. And I'm starting to reach that point now where it's starting to get like real hard. And I'm starting to get to a point where other people are seeing what I'm doing. And this week, man, it was just like day after day after day of listening to vendors just tell me how awful I am and how they can do it better than me. Because, we have the Super Bowl coming. Right? The Super Bowl is coming. And guess what? Every tech company under the world wants to sell their product as the product that did such and such during the Super Bowl.
Of course.
And a lot of what we do in emergency management is like information sharing. And it's really a big part of what we do is we gather information, we share it with other people. And we do it with technology and we, notifications and messages and maps and things like that. And I feel like this entire week I've just been told why I should just quit my job and go work at Walmart. So, I haven't been overly excited to play a whole lot of video games. We also had an exercise yesterday, like this active shooter exercise at the brand new stadium, and I was at work until like 9:30. So, it's just like a long, and it wasn't like it also wasn't like notice. My boss was like, "Hey, I'm not coming in today. You're doing this now." So it was also like it was my kid's open house. They started school and all that. So I had to like tell the wife because usually we split up. Like you take one kid, I'll take the other.
Yep, totally.
Now I was like, nope, you got to do both, and I can't come. And this is all like I'm talking. I say no notice. I'm talking like 3 hours notice. Like I found out at noon that I had to be there at 3, and I was going to be there until 9.
Well, it's very important you make sure the stadium's safe for Tom Brady and the Patriots this year when they go and win the Super Bowl in Atlanta. So
that's true. That's true. It's a gorgeous stadium, by the way.
It is.
Football fans out there. It's absolutely stunning.
It is. Although, what happened with the Chick-fil-A, man?
What is with the Chick-fil-A thing that's getting everybody upset? This Chick-fil-A is doing what Chick-fil-A does. They don't.
Yeah, but so why put it in a stadium? You're not going to.
The stadium operates on It's not like they bought a stadium for 8 days a year. Like it does other things besides football.
I know, but that's probably the biggest draw. That's going to be that.
It is the biggest draw, but they have other restaurants. I don't know. Like
it just seems like an odd choice. That's all.
I get the irony of the news that people are trying to make a point out of it. But if you're familiar with the concept at all, I don't think there's much of a point to make. I don't know. Nobody cares. This isn't Donnie's Life podcast. Nobody gives a crap. On the gaming front, I've been playing some games. It's been a while, I think, since I did an update, a proper PSVG update. I've been updating our listeners in other places on the internet. Been going on other podcasts. So for first and foremost, I beat Miitopia. Final time, like 25 and a half hours. I told Jason it was like 21 hours. And then when I went to go boot it up again, I realized it was kind of like a little extra there that I didn't do. Like I thought I was done, but I wasn't quite done. There's that little extra another castle thing going on there. And I reviewed it for the site and I wasn't so high on it. So I'm just going ahead and lay that out there because I know that you've been playing it, so you can report back. I beat The Last of Us for the 3rd time. And it was interesting when I was playing it. I go to boot it up. I was getting all into this Last of Us like bug, and I was kind of feeling it. And Uncharted's on the way. Like I was kind of getting into the mood. It's getting the itch. I go to boot it up and I realize that I played the game like July 25th last year too. So for some odd reason, like 2 years in a row, I felt the itch to play the game like right in like the exact same time. I think it's just odd, but that was one thing that I found out.
Well, it's the same thing. Ironically enough, back in the PS3 days, every year during the summer, around the same time, like late June, I would go back and I play Fallout 3 every single year. So I don't know why.
It's like comfort
but
food.
I get it. The same. Yeah, it's a similar thing, I'm sure. But yeah,
that's how it felt. And I read this lovely book that I purchased called The Last of Us: American Dreams over my shoulder here. And it's a great little comic. Kind of got me into the mood. It's a little prequel, a little backstory, a little prequel. So it was fantastic. Comic book. I read a comic book. It's like a real comic book. Yeah, I read a comic book. Everybody read comic books. Like tons of people. It's masses.
No, it's only what 8% of the world's population. I think is what
it'd be amazing if it was 8%. I played some Pyre. You know, Seth's been cooking Pyre hard on the Discord, and I talked to him a little bit privately. It's not grabbing me nearly as much as it grabbed him. It's real slow. It's real slow. It's slower than I'd like it to be. I haven't given up on it yet. I actually haven't played a whole lot of it yet either, so I don't want to even try to weigh any judgment. When I told him that, he was like, that's the exact same way I felt. He's like, it's a slow burn. Just keep going. So I think I'm less than 4 hours in. Like I did the intro and then like a couple matches after that. Like I haven't really messed around with all the modes or anything like that. It's real slow. So I've been doing all those. The game that I have been playing the most that I want to talk about, especially because you just did your review of it, is Hey Pikmin. Because I love Hey Pikmin. I'm all about this game. My biggest fault with the game is that it doesn't have the 3D slider effect. Because I think it would be absolutely gorgeous and stunning if it did. I love all the background stuff that they're doing, all the foreground stuff. You have like the rose petals and the leaves and all that stuff is falling. If we had that depth slider, I just think it would pop. But even with it not having there's so much content. I'm on sector 5. I'm in sector 5.
Yep.
I don't know what the end is.
I don't have my 3DS with me. I thought
I was getting close.
7. I want to say 7.
Okay.
I think.
So I'm in sector 5 and I'm doing all the amiibo missions, all the bonus stuff. Like I'm getting all the collectibles, like three collectibles per level. Like I keep going. I've played 10 or 12 levels more than once.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's just a lot of fun. I mean, I think it's a real good representation of what Pikmin is in a 2D plane. Like understanding that it's not Pikmin because it's in 2D, but because it is in 2D, like it gets the Pikmin vibe. I kind of enjoy it.
I agree. I said that in my review too. It's just enough Pikmin to make it feel familiar without being able to be the same.
Yeah. And I think I may have already played it more than I played Pikmin 3.
I can believe that. I can believe that.
So I've been doing all that. And then the game that I've been playing the most this week, over 10 hours already, is that Sonic Mania. I caught the Sonic bug.
Apparently you did, man. The whole internet's blown up about this.
You know why? Because it's good. And I wouldn't say that just because I've never liked Sonic. You've never heard me say a nice thing about Sonic.
No.
I've never claimed to like Sonic. Most of the times I tell everybody the Sonic's terrible, that the games are awful, they're not nearly as good as you remember. This game is really good. And it's really good like platforming. That's the thing that's getting me. I'm getting real interested in the platforming. Very useful and like ingenious ways. Like it feels like every level, right? You go right, you go down, you go left, you go down, you go right, you go down, and then it feels like you go in reverse and you go back up. And there's just like a mixture of that. But along the way, all this really cool stuff happens. And, they have the little sections where you like go super fast, right? You got to go fast. They have the levels where you just like speed through tunnels and jump and all that. But then they actually have really tricky platforming things, which I don't remember being a thing for Sonic. But I also say that knowing that I have not played like a proper, this game just released today Sonic since the 90s. Like I'm not a super fan of Sonic. Like I played Sonic Colors. I did play Sonic Generations a little bit. I have it on 3DS. But I've never felt that. And again, I don't know. Maybe that's new game hype, those road colored glasses. But I've never felt like, oh, this is a platforming challenge. Like I'm having fun navigating and going through this thing.
Interesting.
It's also challenging.
I say, does he still kind of? I remember in the old Sonic games vaguely, because it's been a long time. Like, same as you, like I played most of them, and I'm like, they're okay, but I was never a huge fan. But one thing I do remember is some of the platforming aspects is Sonic would kind of slide. You jump on a platform and you go to stop yourself, and you kind of slide a little bit. Does it still have that give?
If you're going fast,
yeah,
there's a little slide. But in a lot of ways, and I did a Let's Play, so you can watch it, like my first hour with Jack. And you actually see me, like, in a lot of times, even in the earlier levels, like there were times where I was kind of like taking it slow and like methodically kind of getting to the next hop, to the next platform. I kind of want to say it kind of reminds me, it's the way I'm attacking the game is kind of like the way I tackled Shovel Knight. There's a lot more there than I think anybody would believe. Like, I'm kind of taking it really slow. In a lot of ways, I honestly slow myself down. Like when I start going real fast, I like kind of put the brakes on. Because like I said, it's a challenging game. Like death is around every corner. Like I've died a lot already, and I'm only through like the first 5 zones. And that third zone, it's like the Battery Skies or Battery Life or something. Oh, I replayed it like 5 or 6 times just to get through those 2 levels. It's really hard. And it's like, and that's like the third zone. That's like level 5. You know, like in Mario, you're not getting real challenge until like world 8. You know, let alone level 4, world 1. I'm on like level 5, world 1, and it's difficult. Like I'm going through it multiple times. So, like I said, kind of the way I played Splatoon, or I mean, not Splatoon, the way I played Shovel Knight is there's kind of a, like a muscle memory to it. It's like I'm going through and I realize, okay, I died here. Why did I die? Well, you jumped too early. And then you like kind of play through it and you get a little further and then you die again and you get a little further and you die again. And you just like keep going through it until you all of a sudden now you're just walking through it because you've died 5 times. That's kind of what's happening to me. Maybe I'm just terrible at it. I don't know, but that's what I'm experiencing. Like that's kind of how I'm playing. And actually I'm really enjoying it. And the art's all old school, which that's the stuff you don't like.
Yeah.
But it's really good. I know there's tons of GIFs and pictures of it floating around. That second world, like even my son, who never played old Sonic, like he knows who Sonic is because of Smash and stuff, but he's never played Sonic.
Right.
When that old school second world came up, it's like Podi Nini. I don't know what it's called. I don't remember. But it's like this. It's like the Vegas levels of old.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not. Like everything's like retro and neon. And there's like microphones that come down and stuff. And it's like martini glasses. And it's just awesome. Like it's really cool looking. It's got a great style and music. I'm totally digging it. It's really fun. It's not the greatest game I've ever played. It's a hell of a lot better platformer than I've ever known Sonic to be. And I think that's why I'm into it. The best I can give it is I think I've played it 10 hours and it just came out, right? So I've played it 10 hours in the last few days. So I've almost stopped playing Hey Pikmin since it's come out because I'm playing that. And it's making like my thumb raw. Seriously, like my thumb is raw on the thumbstick a little bit. The other night I was like, all right, I got to stop because I thought I was like building up a blister. But it's really good for $20. I mean, for $20, considering what you get out of it, knowing the value and how much other games cost, it's probably like a Switch top 10, top 15, top 20 game just because of the $20. Like it's just a lot there. Plus there's battle mode, competition mode, co-op. Like you can play with friends, split Joy-Cons. Like there's a lot more there than you would think. It's not just Sonic. So
it's a better spend of $20 than NBA Playgrounds.
Absolutely. And it's better spent than Infinite Mini Golf. Dude, that game burned me so bad. I've not wanted to ask for a refund for a game quite as much as that one.
Womp womp.
Yeah. But and that's really what I've been playing. I've been kind of dancing around, messing with stuff. There's other things I've booted up, but I can't say that I'm actually playing them. So
sure. All right. Well, then I guess I'll go next. So Miitopia, as you mentioned before, you already beat it and reviewed it.
Mm-hmm. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me why you hate my review.
So I'm just after the forest level with the 3 fairies.
Oh, okay.
So okay. I just completed that part there. I actually didn't go through the gate at the end of that yet, but I just completed that part there. I get your gripes with it and why you scored it, what you did, and the repetitiveness, everything like that. But I don't know. I would ding it for the same things, but I wouldn't ding it as hard. And I don't know if that's just because of
keep going. That's the only thing I can say.
Okay.
Keep going. You get a lot more of that over and over again.
Well, because what's not bothering me though is the fact that your party is changing. You have all the different classes of characters you can be, and that's keeping it fresh for me for now. Yep. Now I don't know if I'm going to lose my party again. And there's all new classes again, but I can't. I don't understand how many more classes they can do. Some of them are kind of silly and wild, but I'm having fun with it. And that's keeping me interested right now. I don't mind the repetitiveness only because I used to play the old school RPGs where it was just grinding all the time. This game is basically just a grind with some story put in it. Like,
but what I said in my review is that it's not like grinding in the like you don't. I never had to like stat stuff, right? It wasn't like keep dying and dying until you advance.
Right. But no, I mean you grind to get the map and to get different outfits and weapons and stuff like that. Like that's
like I was going through the same paths over and over again.
Okay. I think it's fair. I wouldn't score it nearly as bad as you, but I'd probably be in the 75 to 80 range on it. I don't hate it as much as you yet. We'll see what happens by the time I beat it.
And I expect you to be higher on it. But in my defense, when we review games, I don't think you stick on the value quite as much as I do. Like my review, any review I've ever done is always really centered around my entire shtick is, would I recommend you spend your money on this game? And I can't recommend somebody spend $40 in Miitopia. That's a lot.
Here's my gripe though. So there's, whether or not you like it, there's a ton of content in Miitopia. And if you were to break it down, Miitopia has more content than Hey Pikmin.
Yep. But it's not as good.
Right, as I'm saying, but I'm guessing it's not bothering you as much.
But it's not as fun. There's a difference between quantity of content and quality of content.
I don't know. I'm having fun. I still find it funny. Yes, some of the gags are repeated, so they kind of just, I don't care anymore on some things. But every once in a while, something happens that keeps me interested and fun. I love the auto-assigned characters in the town. Yep. So it was funny because my king is Guy Fieri from Food Network.
Mine was Josh.
But it was funny because it was Guy and he's just chomping away on like some barbecue meat, so it fit. I laughed at that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, some of the bosses I meant to write them down before we started podcasting, but I didn't. But like some of the bosses I had, like it was just very funny and very fitting. Some of those, but then like my party, it's been friends and family, PSVG cast members and stuff like that. I've been using some of the community. Callow's currently in my party right now. So
yeah, Josh was the king, and then his guards were the Joker. Like I have a Christian Bale Joker me. I mean, not Christian Bale, but Heath Ledger like Joker me.
Yeah.
And then the other one was, oh man, I can see it, but I can't think about it. Ice Cube. Ice Cube. So it was Josh with Joker and Ice Cube. And that stuff, like it's hard to knock a game that makes you laugh because there's not many games that do it, and that stuff is funny. Like that's cool. I just thought it was shallow. That's all.
It totally is. I agree with you there. It just reminds me though the funny thing. So the princess, she has the prince and then the other suitor. Yes. They were Jon Snow and Johnny Depp for me, and I was like, "This is amazing." But yeah, so overall, I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun with it. I'll let you know once I beat it if I still feel the same way. But as of right now, I don't hate it nearly as much as you do. I
didn't. It's over 50. Like I didn't give it a 20. I didn't say I hated it. I didn't beat it. It's fun. I mean, like that's what I said. My literally my biggest quip with the game is just 40. I think in today's market, on other systems, you can spend $40 and just do a lot better than Miitopia. That's all. That's really all it comes down to.
That's fair. Currently, so actually I beat and actually just recorded with Nathan the review cast for Batman: The Enemy Within episode 1 from Telltale Games. So check that out. I will say, Donnie, I know your gripe with Telltale. 0 technical issues with this one so far. Now it's only episode 1. So who knows? But it's very promising. The only glitch we had, and it affected Nathan more than me, was when it was looking for our save data. It told me I didn't have any save data from the first game.
And then it did.
So I'm looking at the screen, and then all of a sudden it just loads it by itself. And I'm like, okay, you just told me it wasn't there, but now it's there. So it was weird how that worked. Nathan, it straight up couldn't find it, so he had to re-enter in all of his choices from the first game. But it's they just ask you the questions. It's not the end of the world, but it's a little frustrating.
No, I know it's not, but I'm just
I know. I totally get where you're going.
I'm just tired of it. Like You just want it to get fixed. It's like you've made millions and millions of dollars off of us for 5 or 6 years. Like, why doesn't other people have these problems? Why is it a telltale problem? Because they haven't fixed it. That's why. Because other people are fixing it. It's like, just go fix it. Just stop. It can't be that hard. Really?
Yeah. No, I don't understand it, but I will say, technical issue aside, the story in this one, really good.
Like, the story in the last one was amazing.
Right. And this one already starts off
like better.
Way better. Way better.
You guys are going to keep saying this, and I know, just like the last time, I know everybody's going to be like, the performance issues aren't as bad. And I'm eventually going to cave and try to play it.
Something's going to happen to you. It's only going to happen to you. But yes.
So I wrote them off the last, and I did finish it. So I didn't just like stop, but the last one was Batman.
Yeah.
And it just crashed on episode 3 and 4, and I had to replay both.
Yeah.
And that feels like grind. When you already know the story and you have to replay it again, you're just like, oh.
Especially when they're not short either. So when you're far in there, there's no speeding it up, there's no jumping through.
Yeah.
I get it. The only glitch I had with the first one was just that whole one scene where the guy, when you were escaping Arkham, one of the guys you were fighting, his face disappeared. It was just eyes and teeth. That was it. So I didn't have the major issues you did, but lots of other people did too. So it's not like you're making it up or anything like that.
That bug and the bug that Nathan just experienced, those bugs I can live with, right?
Totally.
Like, I may make fun of them and stuff. You're not going to hear me go, I'm not going to play those games anymore. When the game crashes and I have to replay sections of it because the game crashed, that's when I'm like, all right, maybe I should play something else because it affects the enjoyment of the game.
Totally. Yes.
It's like I no longer am enjoying episode 3 as much as I did because now I have to do it again.
Yeah.
And that's the only part that bothers me.
No, I totally get it.
I feel like I'm making a stand, Kevin.
No, it's fine. I'm not pushing you towards it. I'm just letting you know. I'm glad because I wasn't. I'm a Batman guy. Love Batman. So I was gonna buy it no matter what. But I wasn't like, hey, I need to get this now. I have so much stuff going on right now. So many games I'm playing right now. I was like, I can totally wait. But Nathan approached me and said, hey, what if you want? You want to do a joint review? We'll do it at the same time. We'll play each chapter. And I said, I was like, that's a great idea. So I went and did it. So I'm glad he encouraged me to do it because it's fun. It is coming to Switch. So yeah, it looks like it's coming to Switch eventually, sooner than later, which means they're probably getting the first one too, because I don't see him just bringing episode 2.
I kind of do, but it wouldn't surprise me at all.
I mean, they got to be easy to port because they don't fix anything as it is. And then, they're on cell phones. Versions. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think that's what they'll do too.
Yeah.
But so yeah, check that out. The auto review cast that'll be up. Actually, maybe before you're able to hear this one, we'll see. But it's coming, so either check for it or wait a couple more days and it'll be there. Still playing Splatoon 2. Won't really talk about that. Kind of anybody with the Switch has been playing Splatoon 2. Then I'm playing another game on the Switch that I'm reviewing from our friends over at Head Up Games, Slime Sand. And this game was on Steam. It's been on a couple different things before. It's interesting. It's extremely retro.
Wasn't it? It was Games of Gold, right? Last month?
No, that was Slime Rancher.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks.
So totally different game. This reminded me of, if you remember the game Jason reviewed a while back, Splasher, where it was like a platformer, but you had the ink with different colors and you could only travel in that ink. It was almost like a platforming Splatoon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He played it on the PC. This is kind of similar to this, but it looks way more retro. Like, I think the developers only used like 3 or 4 colors even to do the pixels. So it's very old school, which is kind of like, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. Your premise is you're this slime character and you have all these different stages. You're green slime. There's red slime throughout the stage. If you touch the red slime, you're dead, instant death. So you have to find ways to circumnavigate around that, but you can also stick to walls using your own slime, and you can phase through certain walls. So it's this really weird kind of trippy experience, but it's definitely built for people who like to speed run things. Like, the whole premise is like, yeah, you can get through the stage by taking your time. If you take too long, the stage just floods with slime and you lose. But it's like they want you to try and beat these levels in like 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Like, you just fly through them. So it's a neat little unique thing. I'll probably spend about another week before I want to review it, because right now I'm not super high up on it. I get what they're doing, but I want to see how repetitive and how weird it gets down the line. But interesting little game. I think it's only like $5 or $7 on the eShop on Switch. So very fun to play portable. I will say that. And then the last thing, not really game related, but what was that?
$12.
Really? $12?
$12. Slime Sand. $12. $11.99.
I don't know how I feel about that, but okay. Had to include this story because Donnie's very lucky when it comes to Amazon and getting deals.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw earlier today, it got tweeted out, and I happened to be on Twitter at the time.
I haven't been on Twitter most of the day.
All right, fair enough. I'm normally not. Wario64 tweeted out that there was a glitch in Amazon where they were applying some sort of Audible discount automatically to the Amazon Echo Dot. And cool. That discount was the exact price of the Amazon Echo Dot. So you got it for free.
Oh, okay.
For once, I was actually able to get a deal, and it's still active. It's not canceled. I actually own one of these already, so it's actually kind of cool. We'll be getting a second one.
Oh, yeah, they'll definitely fulfill it. Amazon,
that's what I think.
They have that. If you've ever looked at it, they have like their quality assurance page.
Yeah,
they guarantee you like the lowest price. Like if you buy something from Amazon, like as long as it's not like they can't fulfill it because it's not there.
Yeah,
like, they'll fulfill the order.
Oh yeah.
So
that's what it's like. I'm not surprised it's still there. I'm just not getting my hopes up entirely until I see shipped. But it was only up for like 5 or 7 minutes too. Like it was really quick when they caught it because they're probably like, why are we selling so many Echo Dots right now? But
dude, that account is like the most useful.
He's the
Wario. I have no idea. Like, is there just like 100 people behind that account? Like, there's no way one person does it.
No, there's no way. It's got more people. And then like, so he tweets it, then like 10 other accounts just retweet it. So I was like, I saw it and I was like, oh, I'm gonna try this. And I was like, oh my god, it worked. So I tried adding 2 to the cart at first. It would only do 1 discount. So like, okay. I dropped one off, placed the order for the single one, went back in, added another one like to do a separate order, and the discount was on there again. So I go to confirm it, and they're like, we're sorry, there's an error at this time. So they shut it down. So it was literally like I did it within like 30 seconds of it being shut down the first time. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, so that worked out for me for once. But that's kind of it. That's all I got from me. So we do want to take a second here and thank all the listeners out there who are kind enough to allow us to invade your airspace every week. And we certainly hope you continue spreading the good word and telling a friend and passing along, what you enjoy about the podcast. But let's take a second here and answer some of your questions. So it's time to jump into the messages. Our first message comes from That's Entertaining at EntertainingPod on Twitter. What is currently entertaining you, non-game related? So I'll go first. So this summer it's been mostly games. There hasn't been a whole lot of TV and stuff like that going on, but it's kind of all over the place right now. Defenders came out last night at midnight on Netflix. I did watch the first episode a couple hours ago, actually. Really enjoying it. So very happy with how this is turning out. Very promising. Nothing else has really been going on. I haven't hit the movies since Spider-Man Homecoming, which was great. But yeah, Defenders on Netflix. So far, so good. Donnie, you got anything?
I have 2 tickets to see Annabelle tomorrow, and I'm so excited.
Even though reviews haven't been good?
Reviews were great for Annabelle 2.
Really?
Yeah, they're very positive. Especially for a scary movie. For a scary movie, if you put it in that context, they're like over the moon. For just a movie, they're very positive. Like it's getting 7, 8s, 8.5s. Like it's very well. It's being very well received, at least from the outlets that I follow. And then it's selling. I think the top box office. It's like one of the first times a horror movie's topped box office release charts in like years.
It's outpacing the original Annabelle already. I know that.
Of course. And I saw the original Annabelle, and it's okay. But no, everything that I've heard about, because this is, I'm not sure how much you followed this, if at all.
Oh, yeah, Rotten Tomatoes, 67. It's better. I heard another podcast, and I'm not going to get too much into spoilers, where they said, they love the first one, as many people did. But they all said, sometimes when you find out more about the subject of the horror, you regret knowing the truth behind the person. Like it's much more scary being a possessed evil doll. When you find out the backstory as to why the doll's possessed, sometimes that takes it away from it. So I know some people kind of griping about that. Like it's better to have the unknown mystery factor to keep it scarier versus knowing like, oh, this happened, and they're actually just mad because they died in this freaky fashion. Not saying that's what happened. I have no idea, but I'm just putting that out there.
So Annabelle's a real doll. And the thing
that I do know. I do know the history behind the real Annabelle. Yes.
I think when I first showed my wife the movie, she came away, because I dragged my wife to all these things, and she came away. She was like, it was okay. And I just think Annabelle was just okay. It was an okay movie. It's not bad. It's not worth, it's worth watching, but it's not like setting the world on fire for horror movies. It wasn't until I brought her back and was like, well, you realize that Annabelle's real? And she's like, no. And I was like, No, like seriously, that's a real like Annabelle, The Conjuring, Amityville, like it's all connected. It's a real thing. That's and so she started doing deep dives on it. She's like, oh my god. So I I think she found it to be more scary when she found out what's going on. But I couldn't go launch week because we didn't have a babysitter. So we have a babysitter. I got 2 tickets for that tomorrow, and I've been watching ever since I went on Flex to Pose with Jason, started talking about horror movies. I've been watching a lot more. We just watched It again. I hadn't seen It in a few years. My wife never saw It, so I was like, well, we have to watch this now because we're going to go watch It next month. And she hated it. She hated it. She was like, Donnie, this movie is awful. And I got to admit, it's really cheesy. It's even cheesier than I thought it was. Like, it's been not like crazy long. It's probably been 4 or 5 years. You know, you get 4 or 5 years removed, you can kind of forget some of the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I was watching it. I was like, oh, yeah, it is. I've kind of forgot all that. So, but she's still excited for the new one. She's still excited. She wants, I think with It, yeah, I don't know, maybe it's the clown thing, maybe it's the pulp. I think it's the pop icon. Like, it's so much more in the know than Annabelle, right? When you say It, like everybody knows what you're talking about. You know, it's like it's got that pop culture reference. So I think she wants to be like in the discussion with It. Like, she wants to tell people she went to go see it and all that. So we're looking for movies. We're doing all that, and the movie that Jason recommended me, the Mommy,
yes, yeah.
That's we rented it Google Play, so we're gonna watch it tomorrow.
That's messed up. It's a messed up movie, but yeah.
And yeah, I've been doing that stuff.
Okay, fair enough. So our next question comes from Paul, buddy Paul there, pcalico84 on Twitter. Calico. He sent in a bunch, so we have some rapid fire ones. Number 1, how long until we get the Final Fantasy VII remake? Well, here's the thing with this one. So I'm kind of torn on here. If they still plan on doing this weird episodic version of it, I think we'll get the first one next year.
Nope.
If it's not, and they're actually going to make the smart decision and actually remake the game, then we're looking at after Kingdom Hearts 3. I'll put it that way. We'll be waiting a while if they decide to do if they decide to do it the right way. We're gonna be waiting a while.
The moment that they said that they were taking it back over, because I mean that was basically the stance, right? They were like, we've brought it back in house. They're more or less saying we're taking control of this project now. That's more or less what they're saying. The moment they said that, I was like, this game is now changed. It has a new scope. That's how I read it. I was like, it has a new scope. They're doing something new with it. They can still do the episodic thing, but when I hear a company take a project from another company, I'm not thinking, well, that company is going to continue building what the other company. No.
Right. Restart.
Yeah, they're restarting. They're taking over. So this thing's gone back in the hopper. I agree with you. I think the smart money is on they're remaking the game now, which could mean it could be 3 or 4 years out. If they even do it episodic, I'm not even sure we get it next year, to be honest with you. Even episode 1, I'm not even sure we get something like that. I could see like a PT type of teaser. Like, here is something.
Or they do like a Metal Gear. They do like the Metal Gear thing where they release that game that's like 10 hours and that's it. Kind of deal.
I don't even know. I'm thinking like real short, like less than 3 hours. Like they give you something like an extended demo of sorts, and they're like, next year, episode 1. I could see, especially, it's like with all the Kingdom Hearts stuff, I could see them doing like a prequel, or like not a prequel, but like a, just a little prologue, something that comes before, just a little taste, like a little taste test.
No, they've done that way too much.
But see, that's the reason, because they've done it so much. I can totally see them being like,
I hope not. Don't scare me like that. That's
$29.99. Here's 3 hours of something Final Fantasy VII, and people will totally buy it.
Final Fantasy VII people will. Kingdom Hearts, please do not do that. That's been every single game they've released on the Vita, the DS, the 3DS. Yeah, no, we don't need it. Just bring us the game now.
That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting them to come up with something short. If they're doing episodic, they'll come up with something short and then later. But I truly think this game is now back in. It's everything's on the table now. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Next one from Paul there. Why doesn't the Cloud Amiibo give you the Buster Sword in Breath of the Wild? Dude, that is such a good idea. I'm guessing it's probably some sort of licensing deal.
It's because Square.
But that would have been awesome to run around with the Buster Sword. Oh man, it would have been. That thing wouldn't break after 3 swings.
So I mentioned this before we got started. this past week I listened to our review of Zelda because I've been kind of playing it. And when we did our review cast, I had played Zelda for 100 hours. And since then, I have played it for another 100 hours. I'm over the 200-hour mark in this game. The other day, the reason I'm saying that, the other day, what I've been doing, I mean, in addition to the DLC, in addition to the side quests, I've been doing all this. I think I've done most of them on my checklist. What I've been doing is I'm still scanning Amiibo daily, trying to collect armor sets because you have to do them daily. Like you have to go through your daily checks. And before I was like spamming the system and I just got tired of doing that. So now I'm just doing it daily. The other day, I got the Skyward Goddess Sword. And it's freaking awesome.
Oh,
I was so excited. I didn't even know it was. I was like, oh, "Are you serious? This is awesome!" So now I've got and my inventory actually is just like full of super awesome weapons that I never want to break. Now I'm just like rolling around like 13 amazing weapons that I never want to see broken.
yeah, right. Yeah. So it's gotta be a license thing, but man, that'd be so cool.
It's a great idea. I give you that.
That's an awesome idea. So his third question: why is Doom so good, and why did Duke Nukem fail? So you're looking at two classic shooter franchises that were brought back to life, if you will. And yeah, the iterations of Doom did very, very well, and still continues to do well. I mean, the game, they just unlocked all the DLC for free for everybody now. So if you buy the game, you don't have to pay for the DLC. And Duke Nukem was just so bad. I think with Doom, you ran into a situation where it had been a long time for Doom. And they took care and kind of brought back what Doom was, the essence of Doom. And Duke Nukem was in production hell, I mean, forever. And then it even changed, developers. Like they scrapped the game and another developer bought it and just finished it. I think whenever you run into that, as you mentioned before with the Square Enix thing, like you normally just want to start over at that point. You don't want to just continue it. But yeah, Duke Nukem was just... it was just rough, man. I hope they do bring it back because I love the character. But Doom, it was done with care and with love, and Duke Nukem just was not. It was just a cash grab to get out.
I am not an authority on either one of these franchises. The new Doom, I remember when it came out, I was talking with Q quite a bit. He almost got me into that. I almost jumped in, but not having the resonance with the series, I was always kind of at length with it, right? It's just kind of, I don't know if I really want to jump into it. I could still even be talked into it because it looks awesome. Like that video game, when you watch people play Doom, it looks incredible. Like you can see it from the way it looks, like the way it moves, the colors. It has a visual appeal almost instantaneous. But not having any history with really either one of these series, and the last Duke Nukem I played was on Vita. From an outsider's perspective, what I think is the Doom formula, not only did it evolve like with the times, but it's also a formula. Wide appeal isn't the best word, but it's a formula that's not so archaic. Whereas Duke Nukem is very much like a character of the 90s. And a lot of times those characters are better left in the 90s. I think a lot of people have grown up, they've matured. The younger generations come, beneath them aren't necessarily looking for this Duke Nukem characters. I feel like the appeal of just that whole shtick just lessens over time. Whereas the Doom thing can still be molded and can still be evolved. Doom, I kind of always looked at it as like Diablo with guns. It's like this first person, like hell shooter, it's like that's cool. Like you can get into that. Whereas some people might find Duke cheesy, and even like, of course he's cheesy, but even the people that, a lot of people may not like it anymore. A lot of people may have just outgrown it.
So then why does everybody love Sonic?
Well, he's not so super cheesy.
His
cartoons are.
Oh God! Oh God!
The cartoons are, but I don't know sure how many people watch those.
That's true. All right, so last one, totally out of left field from Paul here on this, but I'm so glad he included the y'alls in here. Yeah, what is y'all's favorite homemade cream cheese dip? So you have nothing?
Dude, I don't make dips.
No, but does your wife make them or somebody make them? You're like, no, that's my favorite kind.
We don't even my wife has a mandate to keep chips as far away from the house as possible because the moment they come in here, she's eating chips. That's all she does until they're gone. Like she loves chips. Her dad's the same way. Yeah, dude, I don't make dips. I mean, I don't know.
All right. Well, my wife has made the last couple Super Bowls. We kind of throw a little party with some of our friends, have them all over.
Oh, that must be nice when you have a football team worth rooting for.
I know, right?
What that's
And they're there like every Super Bowl. And no, I'm just kidding. But even the ones where they're not playing, we still throw a little get together at our house to get everybody together. But people, do a potluck. They bring some snacks and whatnot. But she's made this dip, and I'm not sure all the ingredients here, Paul. So bear with me. But I know it is a cream cheese based dip. It includes bacon and like cheese, and it's basically almost tastes like a baked potato dip. It is so good. But yeah, that's my pick there. A couple more left here. So Devin at Dev8Tyus. What game this fall are you most looking forward to that doesn't have Mario in it?
I feel like that was just specifically directed at us.
Yeah.
But here's the funny thing. I don't even know that I could say that the game I'm looking forward to most this fall is Mario.
Ooh.
I'm definitely looking far more, looking more forward for Fire Emblem Warriors.
More than Mario?
I am. Now, and that's not to think that I think it's going to be a better game. Don't misconstrue those two. I'm really excited for Fire Emblem Warriors. I've been saying it since it was announced. This is a perfect fit. More so than Hyrule Warriors, more so than Dynasty Warriors. Fire Emblem Warriors should be what the series is called. And that should just be the series. It should be annualized every year. I should get Fire Emblem Warriors. That's a perfect fit for that game. So people love Fire Emblem. Don't get me wrong. It's not as many people as I think people think. It sells well, but it's still not like huge. Don't get that, crazy. But everybody knows that Fire Emblem is an established franchise now. Nintendo's done a great job last 6-7 years. Fire Emblem's a main first party stable for them now, right? That's a cash cow. That's something they can go to. Now you give it this casual fix. Casual, you give it something that people that aren't into RPGs, you give them something to do with Fire Emblem. It's a whole broader appeal. It's the whole Mario Kart thing, right? Everybody loves Mario Kart. Maybe people don't like 2D Marios. Well, here's a 3D Mario. Maybe people don't like those. Well, here's Mario racing karts. Here's Mario beating up people. Here's Mario playing baseball. That's how I kind of see Fire Emblem. Now they're branching out the Fire Emblem brand to other markets. And Fire Emblem meets Dynasty Warriors is perfect because Fire Emblem is just full of tons of dudes and women beating snot out of other tons of dudes and women. And that's what a Dynasty Warriors game is. So you can get this Fire Emblem tale, hopefully with animations and cutscenes that live up to the Fire Emblem standard, which from everything I've seen, I think the cutscenes and everything will meet that standard. It looks like it'll be there with this awesome, just like button mash and beat 'em up. So I'm really excited to play it. And you throw in all the Dynasty stuff that they're going to do to this game. The thing I brought up when it was first announced, the adventure maps, having tons and tons and tons of Fire Emblem adventure maps. That's the type of grind I can get into because I'm connected to that brand, to that series. I can sit there and just waste hours just hitting the X button, combing through adventure maps, finding weird stuff, getting new armor. I can totally get into something like that. So I'm really excited for that game. And at a lesser extent, but still very excited, I'm really excited for Metroid. Metroid's previewing extremely well for all the reasons that I would want it to. This Metroid game looks like Nintendo made Donnie a Metroid game. They're like, you've got a map, and you can put markers on the map, and you can teleport, and here's some amiibo stuff to give you a little power boost if you think it's getting hard. And I'm like, yep. These are all the things that I want wanted Metroid to do. And now Metroid can aim in all directions, and the controls are tight, and we've got these awesome 3D visuals. I'm smitten with it. Everything I've heard is checking boxes for me. I haven't heard one thing that makes me leery about that game. So
fair enough. So I'm a little torn here. So it's funny because the games I'm probably looking most forward to aren't big games anymore right now, at least for the rest of this year, that are not Mario. Mario Rabbids, I'm excited for. Mario Odyssey, I'm excited for. Fire Emblem Warriors, I will definitely get that. But to me, it's the reason I'm excited for it is because I'm like, oh, it's going to be more of Hyrule Warrior Legends. And I enjoyed that game, but it's not something I'm like, oh my God, I got to go out and play it. It's just, I had fun, so I know I'll have fun with this one. So for me, I mean, if I had to pick a AAA title game, I will say I'm probably most excited for Wolfenstein. But other than that, I'm actually more excited for a lot of the indie stuff coming to the Switch. your Golf Story, your Stardew Valley.
Oh yeah,
your Flipping Death, Ukulele
Runner
if it
3,
hits this year. Yeah,
SteamWorld Dig 2.
Yeah. So if this stuff comes here, like I think I'm actually going to spend more money on the indie stuff coming. Shakedown Hawaii, another one. Like there's a lot more indies I'm interested in.
God, we could use those now. I could
We
use
really
two or
could.
3 of those in the last 2 weeks and the next 2 weeks.
Yep.
I'm afraid that by the time they come, I'm going to be playing Star Wars and Uncharted and Metroid and Fire Emblem Warriors, and they're just going to, I'll get to them. It's not like all the games you just said, yep. I'm going to play them.
That's why, like, I'm really expecting, I'm waiting for Nintendo Direct to drop. It's been a while now. Yeah, I'm surprised something hasn't dropped where they don't even need to talk about the AAA games. Just say, like, hey, here's an indie Nintendo Direct.
They'll do
all
the
indies
Direct.
and stuff that come.
They'll do their Fall Direct, yeah.
I just hope they do something sooner than that. But yeah, I mean, so that's kind of it for me. So I know it's kind of cheating. I gave you a bunch of them, but I'm more interested in the indies right now than I am the big titles.
I'm happy I got you in on that Golf Story. That game was
awesome. Totally. I'm all in. So Seth sent us a question. This one's a fun one. At Seth Joseph Roy, you've been kidnapped. You have to play a game to fight for your freedom. Your options are Smash Bros, Mario Kart, Splatoon, or ARMS. Which games do you choose and why, Donnie?
I'd probably say Splatoon. I think out of these 4 games, I think I'm best at Splatoon. So if I'm fighting for my life, that's probably the one I go with. In Splatoon, and just in my time that I've played with it, like I can hold up against anybody. Jason doesn't crush me in Splatoon. I've splatted Jason plenty of times, and Mark Carabin's really good, and I've splatted him tons of times. And Guru's put in 3 times the amount of times, and I've splatted him. Like the folks that I've come up against, I don't know, like, you know, maybe there's just pros that are at a whole other level. I'm sure there are, but the folks that I've come up against that game that I respect, I can hold my own with those. I feel like Mario Kart would be a good choice because when we did play online and whatnot, I played pretty well at Mario Kart, especially in the racing modes. But my thing with Mario Kart is I would never sell out like loadouts. I was never Metal Mario on the metal bike with the slick. Like I never did that. Like, no. I'm going to play Yoshi, my little cart, my little Zelda wing, and I was going to figure it out and like use weapons to my advantage. And even so with those, I may have not won all the time, but I was always like top 3. Like I was very competitive, even when I was, you know, kind of outgunned. But dude, I sucked at ARMS. Jason destroyed my ARMS. And the story I always bring up is that, you know, the last time I was playing Smash Bros, not the last time, but the last memorable time I was playing Smash Bros, they did like their little voice online thing that you could do it. Me and my kids sat down to play Jason, and we all played against him 3 versus 1, and he totally wrecked us, all of us. And I know my kids don't even count as like computer players, but you would think that I could use them as a shield. I'm talking, when I mean wrecked, I mean that night we may have played 10 matches. I might have gotten 1, maybe. I mean, just wrecked. Completely wrecked. I was like, I'm never playing this game with you again. Like, just a different level. But you know, he didn't scare me at Splatoon. I can play Splatoon.
So my options are kind of the opposite of you. I would take Smash Bros in a heartbeat.
You're pretty good, yeah.
I've done numerous times. I've done the whole 3 versus 1 thing. When I worked for Best Buy a long time ago, we used to have game nights every once in a while. People would bring in their consoles. We play on the giant wall of TVs. Mm-hmm. And we would do. I mean, this was in the Wii era, so we were playing Melee.
Yeah.
No. Brawl. Melee was GameCube.
Yeah.
And it got to the point I was doing 3 versus 1, and then it got to the point that I would let them pick my character, and I would do 3 versus 1, and I was still winning. So
you do things with Villager that honestly I hadn't seen many folks do. Like, you're pretty good with Villager. Yeah.
I like some of the odd characters to kind of work with, but I would also pick Splatoon, but only if I got to choose my teammates. Because it's too chaotic sometimes. Like, you may be an amazing player, but if you have a team that does nothing, you just can't win. Like, you can't. So
yeah, it's like being the lone wolf on the losing team.
Yep, absolutely. So that was a fun one. And our last question, ironically enough, comes from Jason at JW Lacey. How do you put up with your pod mates? I don't, because they just don't show up for the podcast. So it's just me and Donnie. We don't really have to worry about it. It's not really putting up with us. We're one big dysfunctional family. So listeners, if you're not involved with us on the social media or Discord and stuff like that, you may not get the full grasp of it, but all of us pretty much are in constant communication multiple times a day. So it becomes a family. So occasionally everybody has their drunk uncle moments and they have some bickering or some arguments, but we all do it because we love this hobby of ours, this passion of ours. So we kind of just get over it if there's a situation. So it's not really putting it up. It's more family.
Well, the one thing I wanted to say, and I was really hoping Jason was here because I was going to say it. I was actually thinking about it earlier today after I got off of work. It's been a long week. And I just wanted to say, to get all emotional and sappy here, that I absolutely look forward to our podcast chats every week in a way that I never really thought that I would, because in a lot of ways, not to sound completely stupid, but in a lot of ways, all of you guys are like my best friends.
Yeah, totally.
Because at 30 years old, I don't have many friends anymore. Like, I go to work, my kids go to school, we spend family time on the weekends. In all seriousness, this absolutely being 100% honest, of the kids that I knew and did things with on various teams and sports and extracurriculars through college and high school, I talked to one of them. And even in the last year, that one has been dwindling.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his own thing that he's doing. So you guys are the folks that I talk to every day. You guys are the folks that I talk to every week. You guys are the folks that give me hell when I say things you don't like. And you're the folks that I give you hell when you say things I don't like. And in a lot of ways, you know, like, you're the folks that I care about. Like, when something happens, I want to hear your opinion, not anybody else's. And, you know, in a lot of ways, you know, even though most of us have never even met in person, in a lot of ways, you know, like, when things happen, because sometimes life stuff happens and, you know, we say things to each other privately, that stuff means more to me than, you know, even some of the other folks that, you know, I regularly encounter day to day, because we're so close, because we communicate so often, we do have like a closeness that's hard to replicate.
No, I agree 100%. You're right. We all get, I mean, you're younger than some of us at this point now too, but it's the same thing. We've all been through that thing where you kind of just grow up, you have your family and stuff, and you have a full-time job, and it gets harder to sustain this is going to sound totally in the wrong way, and I don't mean to, but a physical friendship. Like, it's harder to do that part now, but like with us, it's virtual. We still see each other, we still talk to each other, but it's just different. It's easier to maintain, where it's not like, okay, well, I need to call, you know, Ricky at, you know, 6:30 in the afternoon. We're going to go out to dinner.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
Just scheduling stuff is hard. We're like, all right, 10 o'clock on a Friday night, guys, let's all link up and talk.
And
hey, you played a game? Cool, let's play a game. That's it. It's much easier to handle.
When we have the opportunity to see each other, it becomes a priority.
Oh, yeah.
Because of what we do weekly. You know, like when Nathan's flying into Atlanta, like, that's news for me. Like, I'm going to try to move my schedule around to have breakfast with him at like 7 in the morning before he flies out. Like, that's something I'm going to do. And if Josh is flying to Texas, like, he's immediately like hitting up coach, like, how can we meet somewhere? Oh, yeah. You know, and my conferences take me all over. And I'm honestly, I look at the calendar for conferences that'll take me near other people. So yeah, no, yeah, totally.
No, it makes sense. I mean, heck, Coach Mo is coming up to New England for Thanksgiving because their Patriots are playing the Dolphins. Yep. So he wants to see Jay Cutler play. And I think I may be spending Thanksgiving dinner with Coach Mo and his wife. So we're going to make it happen. We're going to do something together. So yeah, I'm with you. But see, we turned what was meant into a joke question to a aw moment at the end of our mailbag. So with that, you know, every reminder, you can send us your questions at podcast@playsomevideogames.com, or just send us a little tweet at PSVG, or every week we kind of tweet out saying, hey, you guys don't want us to answer anything, just respond there. But now it's time, Donnie, to jump into the news of the week. Why don't you go first, sir? Because you have 3 stories. I only have 2, so.
I've got the only news that's real news.
Oh, fake news.
The fake news this week, that's real news, that's sad news, is that Crackdown 3 has been delayed. All right. So we'll get into a little of this. For those of you that are not on our Discord, you're missing out, because I have been taking it on all comers since this announcement, because this news has really upset me. Not so much in the sense that I was pre-ordering and there for Crackdown 3 in day one, but from the sense that I was really hoping that Crackdown was going to be something. Like, I wanted it to be successful. I wanted it to like sway me and win me over. You know, after E3, I think I was real positive on it. I think you may have not been. I kind of looked at it as like, this could be Xbox's like quirky, obnoxious shooter. Like, this could be their Splatoon. Like, it could be fun, right? Just like this boisterous like bro shooter. And I was like, that's cool. I'll play that with Mo and Josh. Like, yeah, like we'll hit that up with Nathan. Like, that's fun. It was something in a year that hasn't had a lot of somethings on the Xbox. And I'll get into my issue with owning all the boxes. So if you don't own all the boxes, this really doesn't appeal to you at all. But for somebody that does, Xbox really hasn't brought much this year in terms of exclusives, especially from a AAA first-party development house. And the trend has not been good. And that's just facts. So if you love Microsoft so much that you can't, like, that doesn't resonate with you, like, I'm sorry. But, like, if this was anybody else, they'd be saying the same thing. Like, they're closing studios, they're losing projects. Projects have been, like, it's not good. That's a bad trend. You know, it's not like they're holding Zelda for the next console.
Yeah.
You know, they have a new console that's coming, and there are no games. 2017 will come and go with Forza and Halo Wars 2 being the first party offerings. 2 games. I can't imagine any console having a year like that where everybody was like, that's fine. It's totally cool. It's all perfect. I don't need it. I don't need games. And I get that there are games to play. There's tons of games to play. That's not the point I'm trying to make. There's hundreds of games to play. If you own an Xbox and that's all you have, you are not lacking for content. There are tons of stuff to play. I own all Xbox. I own all boxes because I love the first party stable of IP. That's why I buy the box. I buy the PlayStation for The Last of Us. I buy the Xbox for Gears. I buy the Nintendo for Zelda and Mario. Like, that's what I want. I'm glad that Call of Duty and Destiny and The Evil Within 2, I'm glad that people are excited for those. And I'll play those too. But the reason why I buy the box is for the first party offerings. And I just feel like they're not there. And that really kind of upsets me. Now, the optimist goes, we're going to have one hell of a 2018. But the way 2017 goes, the detractor would go, well, let's see what happens when we get there, because this has not been the best year ever. You have to think, because they have, you know, their Halo studio that's working on that all the time. You have to think that Halo's next, right? Like, Halo will be in 2018. Yeah. So State of Decay, Sea of Thieves, Crackdown 3, Halo, probably another Forza. You're off to a really good start. But I also feel like I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't say anything, because I got all upset when PlayStation vacated the fall too. And, you know, that they've really kind of adopted that model. Like, they get a first party game out in August or September, and then they kind of vacate the holiday shopping season and they come back. And I don't really appreciate that model, because I want them to have, like, I want Mario. I want the big holiday game. I still want that. I'm old school that way. I may be a young gamer, but that's how I grew up. I grew up looking forward to the big November game, and these other 2 boxes don't have them, and I want them. But at least PlayStation is packing in the front end of their lineup with exclusives. Yeah. Like, this year alone, dude, crushed it. They have Horizon and Neo and Nier and Hot Shots or Everybody's Golf, and then they've got Uncharted. I mean, it's just crushed. And they have a roadmap of like 8 to 10 other games that we know. And Xbox, I have no idea. I don't know. And I feel, and I don't want to, I'd really like to tell everybody and actually have them believe me when I say I don't feel like it's their fault. I really feel like this is like bad timing. Like, not coincidental, but it's a shift. It's evidence of a seismic shift that Xbox has taken. Like, Phil Spencer took over the company after, what's his name? I forget his name now. I just had it. Matrick. Don Matrick. After Matrick did all his TV and DRM stuff, Phil Spencer comes in, takes over the company, and then, you know, what do they do? What Fable's doing, Lionhead Studios, it either didn't look good or whatnot, but they shut that down. And then Scalebound was either costing too much or wasn't getting, they shut that down. So they already lose, you know, their first party content. And to be honest with you, they never had a whole lot to begin with. Like, it's not, they don't have 20 studios cranking out first party games like Sony. Like, that's never been the Xbox thing. And my last point that I want to make, and again, I've made all these points in the Discord, so I'm trying to run through them all. I really think I just miss Fable. I think my whole negativity is that I just miss Fable. Like, with Fable, because it came on the original Xbox, and then it was remade for Xbox 360, and then on 360 we got 2 more of them, and then they did the anniversary of the original. So with Fable, I had these huge, like, meaty adventure games that I could dig into, and they would hold me over. Like, if you just gave me a year where the first party offering was a big Fable game, okay. Like, that was good enough for me. It's different when it's a shooter. Like, when it's Gears, it's a 10-hour game, and you're done with it, and you don't want to replay it because you've already played it, and it's all multiplayer focused. PlayStation has tons of those games. Horizon and Nier, like, that's what they do. These big first-party solo adventure games. And it's just like Xbox. I feel it. That's all I'm trying to say. I feel that gap. I feel the gap. I feel it missing. Like, this year wouldn't be near, like, this Crackdown news wouldn't upset me at all if I knew there was Fable. Either in March, February, or November. Like, if there was a Fable, I'd be, that's cool. We'll get to it eventually. I'm looking towards Fable, and I feel like that because the Fable's not there, because the other things aren't there, that the Crackdown delay makes me feel worse about it. That has nothing to do with Crackdown. Like, I'm all happy for Crackdown being delayed. I'm not sure, you know, if you've been following the news, but the Crackdown previews and people are putting hands on it, like, it wasn't good. People are saying it didn't look good, didn't run good. Like, the previews were like lukewarm, like ho-hum on it. So yeah, delay it, make it better, because, you know, like, we as Nintendo fans, we're accustomed to that. Make the game as good as you can before you release it, and release it strong. I'm all for them delaying Crackdown. I think the problem is, unlike other companies have had, they don't have anything else in the window. You know, it's a lack of quantity. There's just nothing else there. So now they've basically, in a lot of ways, I feel like they've basically vacated the year. They're just like, all right, we'll see you next year. And this is a year they're launching hardware.
So Nathan's on the chat right now, and he's asking, what about Cuphead or The Artful Escape?
Sure. And I'm not even sure The Artful Escape's coming this year. I remember it was at E3, but I don't think they dated it.
I believe it was supposed to be 2017, but I could be wrong.
Well, and you know, sure. There's nothing wrong with those games. I don't even want to demean that statement. That's a quality statement. But we've known about Cuphead for a long time.
Yeah.
And usually when you know about a game for a long time, it doesn't bode extremely well. That's just usual. It has nothing against Cuphead. That's just, you know.
And let's be honest, like,
7 out of 10 times.
Right. When you boil it down, Cuphead looks great. And that's one of the titles I've always been like, man, I'm jealous. I wish that was coming to something else, because it looks fantastic. But when you break it down, it's a platformer. It's a side-scrolling platformer game. Why is it taking like 5 years for it to come out? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
To worry about it. And it's also on PC.
Yeah. Right.
And it's not that that's a bad thing. I'm all for playing games wherever you want to play them. Like, I don't mean to make that statement. It's just that I have always held the hardware provider to a different standard. We're not making fun of Ubisoft. You know, like, I'm not criticizing, you know, Bethesda. They make Xboxes. It is on them to sell them to people. Like, that's what they do. They provide the hardware for people to play on. That's what they do. Just like Nintendo. I hold them to a higher standard. Nintendo, you should be making games for me. That's why I buy Nintendo stuff. Now, so, I mean, I don't know. Again, it's a problem because I own all the boxes.
Yep.
But I also feel like if I didn't say anything, I feel like I'd be remiss. Like, I feel like, you know, it wouldn't be as credible. I kind of feel like a hypocrite. If you're a PlayStation fan that's been listening to us, you're like, Donnie just went ballistic last year when there were no first-party PlayStation games in the front half of the year. And it's like, now Xbox has basically vacated the entire year, or at the very least, it's a minimal year. It's a very minimal year. It feels like tell me do you disagree with this? It feels like Wii U's dead year. Where there's like, here's a couple games and there's nothing else. You know, it really does. And it's just like, oh, you can't do that to a console. And they're launching new hardware. They have a hardware launch, like a huge thing that's coming. And it's all kind of predicated on, well, you can play third-party games, you can play these old games, you can play these games you've already played before, and you can play Forza.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it's good enough. That's all. I just don't think it's good enough.
Makes sense. I backed you up anyway. I was one of the people that said, you know, hey, there's just nothing on there for you right now. Like, I backed you up. Nathan's counteracting with how many games has Nintendo released for Switch this year? So I asked him first party.
Already 3, and that's already more than Microsoft has. They just announced in March.
It's actually 4, sir. You have, well, I mean, there might be more. Well, Zelda, Mario Kart,
ARMS, yeah, there's Mario Kart, ARMS, Splatoon, 1-2 Switch.
Oh, that's right, 1-2 Switch, Zelda, so 5.
Yeah, and there's another 4 or 5 that we know of that are on the way that I would consider AAA. That's not even exclusives, but like AAA exclusives, like first party big content, like tent poles. I don't think it's so. The reason why I brought it up and the reason that I've been defending is I think it's weird. I think Xbox is kind of getting a pass. I feel like people are giving it a pass, and the reason why I think they're getting a pass, and I agree with it and I understand it. Everybody loves Phil Spencer, and I love Phil Spencer too.
Yeah, I do too.
He's like the lovable underdog. Like, I love the guy. Every time he comes out and says something, like, I want to root for, I want them to be successful. It's not because I don't want to be. I'm excited for State of Decay 2. I wish it was coming this fall. I wish it was coming before next March. Like, it don't have to be this fall. I wish it was January or February. I wish I had a date on the calendar that I was excited to play that game. That game should have been out this year. Sea of Thieves should have been out this year. It's not like we just learned about those games. Those games are shown for the past 2 or 3 E3s. You know, it's like they should be here. I said the same thing about PlayStation. So, you know, at the very least, tell me that I'm consistent. Yep. I said the same thing about PlayStation. Why are you showing me a bunch of games that are 2 or 3 years away? What's happening now? The difference is PlayStation's caught up. This year they had a bunch of those games come out, and they were really good. And I want Xbox to do the same thing. So I just want really good reasons to play my Xbox, and I'll still play it. You know, I'm still going to play Star Wars with the Xbox crew because the majority of folks over there playing it, and Nathan's a huge Star Wars fan, so I want to see him geek out and do all that. I'll still be there. And it's, you know, I was mentioning earlier, I made the statement I might sell it, and it wasn't. I don't think I might sell it. I said I think the statement was more like I should probably sell it at this point because I'm not going to be playing. I think that was the point I was trying to make, and I think a lot of folks ran with like I was going to sell it. I'm not going to sell it. I've literally, Kevin, you're laughing at this, put over $50 in Rock Band credit into that thing. That's non-transferable. I bought $50 worth of downloadable. I think it's more than that, actually. I think it's a lot more than that. Whoa. But I've at least paid $50 in downloadable songs from Rock Band. I can't transfer. My daughter, that's the game my daughter loves to play with her dad. She loves playing Rock Band with me. It's not going anywhere. It's worth more to me just to play DVDs on. I want more out of it. That's all. I just wish I could play it more. You know, like we were getting, because this has been like a 3-day thing in our Discord. It's like, well, you can play backwards compatibility. I'm like, that's amazing. I can't wait to go home and play Alan Wake from 2008. So happy I bought this box. Like, you know, I don't feel like that's, I really don't feel like I'm being a maverick.
No, it's the backwards compatibility thing. While it is fantastic, but it's not a driving point to want you to play it. It's an added benefit. Like, hey, if you want to go back and get this, guess what? You don't have to go buy an Xbox 360. You can just, you know, do the backwards compatibility and play that game you've been jonesing for. But it's not something saying like, hey, I want to get an Xbox One as my console because I want to go back and play, you know, Alan Wake or whatever, you know, Gears of War 2. Like, it's not, it's an added bonus. It's not a selling point. Just like Virtual Console is not a selling point for Nintendo Switch.
The last point that I want to make, they've basically vacated the fall, minus Forza. Yep. They have Forza, and Forza's a huge deal. Forza's great. This isn't the one that I want. This is the realistic sim racer. I've got no interest in that at all. But people do. Forza sells well. Good for them. Like, that's great. They really should do something. I really honestly believe they should make this up somehow. They need to buy games with gold games. They need to go try to lock down a third part. I don't know what they've got to do. They should find something to fit the window, because I still believe you need to have some sort of system seller, exclusive content to your system in the holiday shopping season. And I would love it if they came out, get in a Resident Evil 7, you know, get the Tomb Raider that you had exclusivity, get some games like that, throw them up on Games with Gold, push your service, like really make it the value proposition that it should be. Start throwing some bundles together. Like, I just don't think it's okay. And I think if you think it's okay, and I think if you're sitting there going, I'm playing Destiny, and that's fine, I don't think that's the right attitude, because guess what? PlayStation players are playing Destiny 2. And you may not care about that, but you should, because they have to sell stuff. You know, like, I want everybody to sell stuff. I want them all to sell well, so they all make more games. That's always been my thing. I want everybody to sell well so they make more games. And I feel like right now, like, if you're a brand new consumer, right? So you're a brand new consumer and you go to Metacritic, or you go to IGN and you go, show me a list of upcoming games to Xbox versus PlayStation, and you run that comparison. Not the best time to run that comparison. I'll just say that it's not the best time to run that comparison right now. If you're looking like 2017, you're like, wow, well, here's a clear choice over here. And I get it. Xbox has got services and they've got Game Pass and EA Access. I don't mean to demean any of those. Those are great. They really are. They're consumer friendly, but they're not Uncharted and they're not The Last of Us. They don't, they're not Mario. Like, where's the game that you associate with your product? Everything has that. And right now, Xbox feels like it's lacking.
Cuphead is confirmed for September, by the way.
Yeah, no, I know. Okay. Yeah, they dated that at E3.
Okay, I didn't think it was dated.
September. Cuphead's coming, and they've got Super Lucky's Tale, which is an exclusive, and they just had Tacoma, which I'm pretty sure is exclusive, even though it's on PC, it's console exclusive.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like they don't ever. And that's what I said. You remember at E3, I told Nathan, I was like, I feel like you're making the Wii U argument that I made. Because I made the Wii U argument for years. Like, there are games to play. Look at this indie game and this Mario game and this Zelda game. But if people don't care, then they don't care. And there's nothing you can do to change their minds. And, people don't care about Tacoma. Only the hardcore of people even know what Tacoma is. Yeah. Like my cousin has an Xbox, plays Star Wars. You give a crap about Tacoma. Like I can't get him Jones, like, come play Tacoma with me. And I'll play that game at some point. And that's the problem with those other games. I just want them to have the big game. I feel like it's crazy to want them. Like, everybody wants the big game, right? We all want the big game. That's why people cheer when Final Fantasy VII Remake gets up, and Shenmue, and The Last of Us, and Mario, and Zelda. That's why people rise to their feet and they scream and they get excited and they make signs and stuff. That's the stuff that I want. That's what I want from Xbox. That's what I wanted, and I don't feel like I have it, and it upsets me.
See what you did, Microsoft? You delayed Crackdown, and Donnie just went on like a 45.5-minute long rant. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's been a valid conversation in our Discord for a few days now. It's not, to sum it up, he's not bashing Microsoft. He wants them just to do better. That's all it is. They need more. They clearly need more developers working exclusively for them, I think, to keep up with the content that the other parties are able to put out. So you can look at like Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't own any first party developers pumping stuff out for them like Sony does and such. So you don't have that relationship, but yet Nintendo's putting out more content than Microsoft. That's crazy at this point to see that, but it's all good. But anyway, you can direct all your hate mail to @PlayNintendo on Twitter. If you want to continue this conversation elsewhere. So we'll jump right to the next story. This one's a quick one. Been all over the internet already if you're following Nintendo at all. Splatoon's next Splatfest has been announced, and it's superpower, flight versus invisibility. So while there's been numerous studies and everything, polls and such saying, if you could have any superpower in the world, what would it be? Flight always wins, hands down. But some people are making a case for invisibility. Other than being a creeper, some people say you're just a creeper or perv if you want invisibility. But some people are having practical approaches, such as, well, people can't bother you if they can't see you. You don't have to worry about doing your hair in the morning and stuff like that. So I guess there's some practicality. My interest is you get some Splatoon players who pick by the actual answer, whether they prefer flight or invisibility or ketchup over mayo. But then you have the whole division of people that pick simply because of Pearl and Marina and which one they represent. So while invisibility may be the less popular option, she's the more popular character in the States, way more so than Pearl is. So it'd be interesting to see what it breaks down to. Donnie, what are your thoughts, and what team will you be repping on the Splatfest?
You can't see me. I've been waiting all day. I would pick Team Invincibility just for the John Cena memes for the next couple weeks. Just to send those out daily. Just Team Invincibility. You can't see me. I actually have kind of warmed to Caroline's point and just kind of a repping Team Marina because these decisions are stupid. I mean, these are just... I feel like the old ones were better. Maybe I'm wrong. I could go look them all up, but didn't we have like Pepsi versus Coke and like peanut butter versus jelly? These are like better. Like
there was peanut butter versus jelly, Autobots versus Decepticons. It was like a Transformers tie and something like that.
Yeah, like these are stupid. Ketchup and mayonnaise, flight versus invisibility. These are questions I've never asked myself. I really don't care. I'm going Team Invincibility because of Sean Capri. I've kind of taken this approach. I just want to shoot Sean Capri. So whatever team he's on, probably going to rep the other one unless Caroline tells me otherwise. So that's my decision process.
Which is ironic because I feel the need to go against whatever you pick. So
wrong game. But the other problem. All right. So the problem that I have, I just went on this diatribe about how you're all my friends and I love you all. And then every Splatfest, you all gang up against me. Everybody, the entire team is like,
you keep picking the wrong answer.
All right.
But no, yeah, I get it. I honestly, I still don't know. I told you before I was on the fence, and I was just jokingly saying before I'm definitely against you. So I'm undecided right now. Nathan in the chat right now says flight all the way. So he's coming after you for sure. But my challenge is Nathan, you'd actually have to play Splatoon in order to compete in the Splatfest. So you have to blow the dust off your Switch there if you want to come play. But yeah, so that's it. So yeah, that is running. I forget the date. It's coming up.
It doesn't matter. It'll come
sometime in September.
Yeah, there you go.
Whatever. Every time you play Splatoon, you got to run through the middle, and you'll be able to pick up the vote. The voting thing is not up yet. I did check it earlier, so coming in September. No, or the next weekend, I think it is.
I got a date that does matter.
Go.
Segue, and that date is August 20th. That looks like the date you're going to be able to order that Xbox One X, that X Bone X, that X Ox Box X, that Box X.
I thought you said something that mattered.
Well, it's the date that matters.
Oh,
this Sunday, they're having their the little presser at, was it Gamescom?
Yep.
I might stream reactions over that because I've been wanting to test this new PC, so I may do that just for that. But yeah, so $500, you'll be able to drop that this Sunday if you want to secure your Xbox One X this holiday, so you can play Forza and a bunch of other games that have already come out.
Backwards compatibility.
The last dig I'll take.
No, I'm not going to take it. Also being announced at Gamescom, this isn't on the news list at all, though. They will also be announcing the Fighter Pack 2 for Injustice, so we'll know what the next 3 characters are that are coming down the pipeline. So a lot of rumors swirling. We're hearing a lot of Spawn possibilities dropping out there. We think Raiden's coming based on what's been kind of teased a little bit. So we shall see, but that's also going to be unveiled during Gamescom. Nathan says, "Oh, don't forget it also looks like we're getting a Project Scorpio edition of the Xbox."
Oh yeah, the day
X2.
one thing, right? That is now. So that's awesome. That's amazing. I want that. Yeah, that's great because that's cool. It makes you feel like at least when you pre-order, like if I could have had a Switch day one edition, I would have totally been on that. Like, because that's cool. It's like it's fanboyism at the best. Like, it's honoring your support from the get-go, you know, like your blind faith. It's like, here's this thing to feel special. I like that's cool.
No, if only you had a cool new exclusive game to play when that console launches.
Exactly.
No, I'm just teasing. But in all seriousness, the thing that kind of really sucks about this whole situation, to go back a little bit, is that they're launching this console with no big title with it, which is the same exact thing Sony did with the PS4 Pro, and it's not selling gangbusters. It's out there. There's a portion, but I mean, maybe that's not Xbox's goal, but it seems like they were trying to do the opposite of what Sony did, and now we're almost essentially doing the same thing. But yeah, whatever. My next news story is kind of more trolling than anything. PewDiePie can't stop getting in his own way. So if you recall, a couple months ago, back in February, I think it was, he had made a very bad decision and posted an anti-Semitic video on YouTube where basically he paid people to hold up signs and such like that. And he makes a lot of jokes about Nazism and white supremacy. He came out and basically said that he's now stopping, which you think making Nazi jokes and white supremacy jokes, you should have stopped that before when they canceled your YouTube Red show and your subscribers all bailed and everything like that. But in a video published Wednesday, he spoke about the recent rally in Charlottesville and Virginia that we all know about and what happened. And basically he said this is the stupidest thing. He said he used to make the Nazi jokes all the time because he didn't believe Nazis were still active. But after seeing what happened in Charlottesville, he realized the hatred that accompanies racism and anti-Semitism is still alive. I don't get how you're right. He's not a kid.
AKA, he started losing money.
Oh,
and
totally.
Decided to change his ways. That's garbage.
Totally. It's just ridiculous. But it's like, I don't understand why you think Nazi jokes are even funny, period. Regardless.
You know what? As a fan of stand-up comedy, I can tell you this. I'd have more respect if he stuck to it. The fact that when times got hard that he just caved, that actually I have less from that because I don't mind comedians. Like, and I'm not saying whether it's right. Obviously, it's wrong, right? But if he was doing it to make a joke, that doesn't bother me. Like Anthony Jeselnik says some outlandish, ridiculous stuff that makes a lot of people feel uneasy. Doesn't bother me in the least bit. I mean, obviously, I'm the blanket statement guy here. That's my reputation. I think we're all too PC anyway. Like, that's my whole thing. It's like, let's get down to brass tacks. The fact that he just caved because he's losing money, because I mean, that's what it is, right? He's losing his show and people are, yeah. So now he's caving to appease to them. That just makes me feel less. I'm like, well, okay, well, now you just feel very corporate. So
right. And I don't think he's even like the kicker is he's not even a comedian per se. Like, he just thought these were funny videos, and it's so stupid. It's like the second half of his announcement goes, if for some reasons Nazi thinks it's great that he's making these jokes, he doesn't want to give them that benefit. So basically, he doesn't want to make Nazi jokes, not because they're wrong, but because he doesn't want Nazis to think that they're funny. So I'm going to stop doing it. Awful. Nazi memes, they're not even funny anymore. It's sort of a dead meme. So just to make it clear, no more. It's not me censoring myself. It's more like I don't want to be a part of this.
I appreciate him taking a stand. What a great character.
Well, and here's the thing. So he made that statement, and then 2 days later, he made another Nazi meme joke.
Did he really?
He did.
With everything that's going on right now.
Yep. He posted a picture of one of the people who are marching in the rally, and then accompanied it with the caption, "Dear Nazis, stop looking so identical to me. You're really not helping my case here."
So I know that he's popular because I've seen him on Conan and stuff, but I got to ask, because I'm not into the super YouTube culture and all that. Dude, what's the deal? Why are people so enamored with this guy?
No clue.
I'd rather Coach Mo stream. If we could get Coach Mo streaming and talking to people, if we could just get him to do that. It didn't have to be daily, right? Maybe like 2 days a week on a schedule. Oh, dude, Coach Mo's so much better than PewDiePie. So much better than PewDiePie.
That's a given. But yeah, so just not really news per se, but yeah, PewDiePie's still an idiot, just a bigger idiot than we thought.
Yep. So. My go?
Your go. Wrap it up. Dude, last news story.
My Twitter and podcast feed has been full of this BS all day. I call it BS because I'm sick and tired of hearing stories about trophies. You kind of funny kids are driving me nuts with this trophy stuff. I don't care. I'm tired of hearing about trophies. I don't care if Sonic Mania doesn't have a platinum. I'm tired of hearing these other ones have platinums and they don't. It's ridiculous. It's like the world's biggest small community thing. It's like, I don't know how many there are out there. Let's call them, I'm going to be generous. Let's call them 750,000 people in America really care about trophies. And every time they feel some injustice, they all tweet about trophies. And it causes this thing. It's a completely arbitrary number. It means nothing. Tomorrow it could change. I kind of wish somebody would hack it all and just reset it all to 0 and just watch the world burn. Because it's absurd. But if you didn't know, I wasn't a whole lot on Twitter today, but if you were, you should know. Life is Strange, the new one that's coming out. Was it Before the Storm? Something like that. Has 2 versions of the game. There's the game that comes out, 3 episodes, and then there's like a deluxe version. And right now you can only get the platinum trophy if you order the deluxe version. That was what happened earlier today, but it's been updated and Square just said it's a problem. So everybody just tweeted, caused all these issues, said all this stuff, went to podcast feed, got Greg Miller cussing up and down YouTube, and it was all just a misunderstanding to begin with anyway. And you all should just sit back and be like, I feel like I now want to call for a chance of like self-reflection. Like, really? Is this really the best way to spend your day? Seriously? Upset because there's a trophy you didn't like, or a trophy that wasn't right, or a trophy that wasn't fair, or a lack of a trophy at all. And like, look, I get it. I get people like having badges of honor. Like, I'm fine. Like, that's cool. But like, is it so important that it has to be a specific trophy, or the lack thereof of a specific, like, are trophies just of them not just being there? Are they just not good enough? Now they have to be the way you want them, the exact ones you want. Really? Does it matter?
It's stupid too, because like, so I don't even know why this was the thing in the first place. So the trophy list now leak before the games come out, which I also think is stupid because a lot of times it gives away some aspects of the game. There's never been a game, to my knowledge, I could be wrong, that you had to have the DLC to achieve the platinum. It was always kept separate anyway. Like, yes, you can get a gold trophy in the DLC, but you didn't have to have the DLC in order to get the platinum. The platinum was for the core game. If you achieved all trophies in the core game, you would get the platinum. The DLC shouldn't even matter. So I don't understand why people flip it out in the first place, because to me that shouldn't have been a thing anyway. But I don't know.
You know, with as lenient, and I'd say lenient as you guys were last week on Shadow of Mordor's loot crate, I'd be way more for people buying trophies than actual loot crate for progressing the game. I'd rather, like, sure, like, buy the DLC and get extra trophies. What's the difference? I don't know.
No, they don't mean anything.
Video games that you can live without. It's the same thing, but for some odd reason, when you start talking about achieves and trophies, people lose their mind. I feel like this is one thing that I will just never understand. And that's fine. That's okay. I wish the best to you. I just feel like, you know, I don't know, play more games, quit tweeting about trophies. I wish I had time to play more games. I don't tweet about trophies.
I don't know. Like, I get, you know, Coach Mo wants the Chiefs. He gets the score and everything like that. But ultimately, like, that's his thing. Like, that's what he enjoys doing. He likes seeing that score go up. Like, that's almost the game to him. But I don't know, for some reason, the PlayStation side, it's not compiled together other than, like, hey, you just level up to level 13. But, like, I have, you know, 5,000-6,000 trophies in my PSN profile right now. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't do anything for me. So it just seems silly people get so wrapped up on something. Like, if you enjoy hunting it, that's fine. Just enjoy hunting it. But to get upset about something that doesn't contribute or add or change anything.
Well, it all connects back to very early on in the week, but we had the issue, not issue, but we had Kyle suggest that he was going to buy the Switch version of Sonic Mania because the reason for that decision, because it did not have a platinum trophy on PlayStation. And I was like, that makes no sense. You should buy it on Switch because you like the features of Switch. Like, you should buy it because you want to play it portably. You should buy it because you might want to play co-op and split Joy-Cons. Like, you should buy it for the features, not because of a lack of a feature. You should buy it on PlayStation because you want the enhanced graphics, if there are any, or because you like the controller or you like the ecosystem. I don't know. I feel like you should buy the game because you like whatever the platform has, not because it doesn't have what you want. It was a weird statement for me I was like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And, you know, he went on and said, well, you know, trophies are a feature of the system and I'm buying it because it's not there. And I get that. But also my counterpoint to that was, it's not like it didn't have trophies. It just didn't have the one trophy that it wanted, the platinum one. It's got 10 or 12 or 20 other gold ones or whatever. It has trophies. You can still go hunt Chiefs. It just didn't have the one. And I'm just like, wow, that's a lot of red tape for me in video games. Like, I don't want any part of that. I really hope Nintendo never does it. After hearing all, like, no, I don't want any of this. This all sounds miserable.
Yeah, dude,
you're not a real gamer unless you beat Super Mario World 3 times.
Yeah, no, do something different. Like, you beat the game, you get a free theme for your
yes,
or something like, do something like that.
That's better.
Nothing else. Better. Hey, I beat it. I got this wallpaper. Cool. Like, just do.
I'm better than you because I beat 30,000 people with this gun in Splatoon. That sounds miserable. I don't want that type of trolling ever to be invented. Thank you, Miyamoto. Please, Reggie, keep me from this hell.
But yeah, so that wraps up the news for this week. So time to close up the show here, Donnie. Is there anything you want to connect people with? Anything you want to direct people to, or where can they find you?
Well, you can come follow all of our fun stuff over at placeandvideoinfo.com. We've mentioned several times during the show already, our Discord chat is really starting to blow up. We're constantly communicating over there. There is a huge banner on the homepage, psvgpodcast.com, placeandvideogames.com. Go there, Discord, top left. You can't miss it. Just click it. It's an automatic invite. At any time, you can come join our little chat room, come chat with all of us. If you like all the things I like to say, if you hate the things I like to say, that's probably more important. You can come let me know those reasons why on Twitter at PlayinNintendo. That's playing Nintendo without the G.
Absolutely. So yeah, he covered that. Twitter is at PSVG, Facebook.com/PlaySomeVideoGames, YouTube.com/PlaySomeVideoGames. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I am at PSVGKevin. Make sure you check out our buddies there over at Flux to Post. The Nintendo Guru was on the most recent episode there, and I believe Jason's going on Nintendo Talk this weekend, possibly. And you can catch me on next week's episode of Flux to Post as well. So make sure you subscribe and download those things. Donnie did a recent episode of Flux to Pose as well, talking all sorts of horror movie goodness. So check those out. But other than that, to recap, everybody, Nazis are bad and not funny. Crackdown 3 being delayed is the end of Xbox. Trophies and achievements are dumb. And Final Fantasy VII Remake will never come out. So just give it up now. But
all those statements you just made, just bring me grief and not you. Like they're just everybody's. I feel like it's all reflective upon me.
Have you not realized that's the thing here? All the grief goes to you.
Okay, that's fine. Fair enough.
But more importantly, boys and girls, just never stop gaming.